So we got a tractor rear end in here. The full housing's out in the shop. We're just taking a look at that there. So we're just trying to devise a way to set this up in probably the mill, because I'm not going to be able to chuck that from the back too easily, but it's got a nice flat surface here, so I can set it up on the mill and then probably use a boring head on the outside of it, bring it down. I was going to sleeve it, but it really doesn't offer a lot of material, so I'm probably going to have to build it back up with weld and then turn it. This is the good one. We'll go take a look at the other one. So this is the bad one here. We got it wore down close to, I think it's around 180 thou or something. Oblong. And then we gotta set that up in the mill, and it's worn into this face too, so we'll probably have to build that up and put a shim plate in and go from there. The plan here is I pop this ring off. That'll give me something to dial to. I'm gonna have to clean this up and weld it. It's broke down probably about 30 thou all the way around, so weld should hold if I just clean it up and run new weld, and hopefully nothing distorts on me as I go. Okay, so we started the welding on this front of the rear end, and I'm just taking my time doing like maybe a 1-inch pass, keeping it cold. I don't want to distort anything inside. I don't want to heat distort anything, so I'm really, even though it's a rush job, you still got to take your time sometimes. So this is going to take a while, and I'll bring you back around when I get it finished up. So this has been one of those jobs where I honestly didn't think I could pull it off. I think I can now, but I wasn't too sure at first. I was going to set it up in the mill and use the boring head and bore out around the outside of it to try and true this up. Problem is my boring head doesn't reach out far enough to be able to let me to do this. I only have a small boring head. So what does that leave you with? Well, now I got to set it up in mama lathe over there. Problem being with that was this piece sticks out quite far, so my jaws, basically all my jaws would be on this one piece, and I'd have to offset it. It's doable, but it'd be kind of wonky, and it probably wouldn't run great for what I want to do. So I ended up getting the customer to bring me down the bearing caps and bolts. So what we're going to do now is put a bearing cap on here, but underneath those bearing caps I'm going to run a piece of 2x2 angle iron with some holes drilled in them on each side, and that will allow me to put my forejaw here and here, which should give me a little more rigidity and strength. And then of course I'll run a pipe center on the other end once everything's dialed in. That will also allow me to dial in on this face as well to keep everything true as well. I didn't weld up in here, and that will allow me to dial in here as well. So we're going to get this on the lathe and hopefully be able to bring this back true. Then we get on to the other step, which is out there. We'll get to that in a minute. But we'll get this done first, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, that's the thing with building up with weld, you always hope that you have a lot more than what you need. That way it creates a nice clean surface when you're done. Let's see what happens. Plates geared up here, got some holes in them, so we're just going to get those mounted on. Should go fairly good. We'll find out here in a second though. So hopefully that makes a little more sense to you. I can grab on here and here now, and we can get something dialed in the forejaw. And then we can run a center on the other end, and everything should work out good. So our next step is to get this in the lathe and chucked up and dialed in. So off to the lathe. Okay, so finally, after hours of dialing this in, it's finally geared up pretty good. You can see where this is where my angle iron actually plays into effect. I've got it dialed within probably about 1 thou on the back here, and I'm running about thou and a half out here, which is pretty good for welding because there was probably some variation. I went and machined a plug to put in the end of this so that I could run a center, and then just because it just seemed like any little bit of movement wanted to change it, and I got it tightened as much as I want to on that cap here because I don't want to be pushing in too far on it and potentially ruin something. So I think we're all right to start making cuts. So yeah, let's see what we end up with. But it is actually cleaning up really well. So we got a couple spots here and at the front, but in the center it actually is where I was really worried about it actually missing, and it's doing pretty good. So we'll change that insert, broke the tip off, and then we'll go from there. So I've slowed down the speed, kept the feed the same, changed the insert out. Let's see what we get. Definitely a much quieter cut for sure with that insert. that a quick little buff and she'll be good to go there. Well, there you have it. You can see some of the welding marks in it, but it did clean up really well. And it's dead on size, so that's all we can really hope for. So we'll pop this out, and then I'll show you what we're working on next. Alright, so this is the other part. And as you can see, it's not round. So the front axle of the tractor pivots on this end and the other end we just did. So our plan for this one, we'll set this one up in the mill. Our boring head will reach around it. We'll bore it so that it's true, and then we'll sleeve it and rebore it again. So now we got to get that monstrosity set up on the mill. But one thing at a time. Okay, so in my personal opinion, if I'm doing sketchy shit, I may as well videotape it. Maybe, you know, as an obituary, or I don't friggin' know. Anyhow, I got this thing here. Well, there we go. We got this axle here. We're going to get it up on the mill. So I got a strap across there to hold that from sliding out, and then I went ahead and drilled the hole in this beam here to stick a piece of threaded rod and chain through. So we're going to see if this conglomeration can lift and pivot in and maybe sit on the mill bed. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Better than I thought it would. But you know, degrees in geometry and physics and stuff. And remember when we had that chipper drum on here? Someone had mentioned in the comments that I should have taken some weight. That'll be perfect for things like that, where I can actually just take a little bit of weight. It didn't seem to affect it any. The actual table on the Gibbs is actually holding really true, but for future reference, it's nice to have that and getting stuff up on it too. Okay, I got it up and resituated. I'm just going to clean off underneath there. I already gave it a wipe down, but there's probably some debris there. And then probably set this surface up on 1, 2, 3 blocks and try and find a way to get it clamped down. Alright, let's see what that does. You know what's awesome? All the T-slots are covered. Yeah, that's really awesome. I gotta figure out how to hold this down. Man, definitely get some weird ones. I was hoping I could use these 4 holes. I don't know for sure, but that would have been good. Not on the bottom though. I don't know. Well, I'll have to do some thinking. One thing I could do is maybe weld angle iron down, and that would allow me to put a bolt on the inside of the angle iron. What else could we do here? Can't strap clamp it. These here, there's actually no holes here. They're opaque anyway, they wouldn't really help us. We can come off this front T-slot again like before, but there's really not a lot of strength in that. It's more or less just to kind of give you your safety. The only thing I could really get away with is turning this a little bit at the moment for ideas and being able to catch a T-slot front and back. Like just moving it there, I could get something, say right there and right here on the back. That would hold it. Come on, you. That would hold it in two places. This ain't a stick it in the lathe job, that's for sure. Stick it on the lathe, maybe. Well, I'll do some thinking. I'll figure something out. I may go with that plan. Alright, so I thought about it for a minute, and I'm going to use this. I got some of this for scrap anyway. And I'm going to basically cut it at 13 inches, which will give me 2 inches either side of the table. So then I can bolt it directly down to the table with T-nuts, and then drill some holes off sides of them and run some bars up through and probably strap clamp it, or I can even clamp it, but I'll probably strap clamp it either side here. And that should do me pretty good. Yeah, so I got some building to do. I'll probably bring you back once I get that done, because really it's just drilling some holes, cutting some stock, drilling some holes, finding some more material for strap clamps, drilling some holes in them, and then we'll bolt it all together. So I was just gearing up and realized this is a machine you've probably never seen me use. This is a number 18 Canadian drill press. Nice big stout unit. Yeah, it's right next to the dog where he hangs out, but whatever. And we built our own foot pedal switch for it, which works excellent. It doesn't get a lot of use anymore because of the mill, but sometimes when the mill's tied up, you got to drill holes. So here we are. Beautiful. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking and compared to reality. So the ones inside should be able to grab nuts or bolts. We should be able to hold that down, no problem. And then we'll be able to clamp on the outside here and bring some rods up and across. The reason I put two in is because I have this guard here, and I don't know if I could get something by it, so we're probably going to use these in the future for other things, but that steps it out a little bit so that if we have to put the bar out further, we can. But yeah, no, I think we're good to go to start finding something to clamp it down with. Might even just use another piece of that stuff. But that gets me close to the hole and definitely gets me on mark. Okay, here's the setup that works. Don't mind that you can't see anything sticking out of there. It's still holding-ish. But yeah, grab some scrap pieces and drilled some holes in them. Now we got some top strap clamps, and yeah, she ain't going nowhere. So now we'll just dial up probably around this surface here. Get her center, because that's going to be hard to find a center off of. I might be able to get down at the very bottom here. Actually, yeah. We'll go right at the very bottom here. Dial that. And then we can start cutting and get it down to clean it up. And then we'll build the sleeve to fit it. Okay, so we got everything dialed in within a thou or less. And now we're clamped down and our boring heads in. We're ready to take some cuts. Just as we were just about to start this up and start making some cuts, I was doing some adjustments, and well, that's not moving. So we got to take that off. We got to go in and get a new motor because we sheared the shaft off of that sucker. Frig. Always happens at the worst possible times. Man. Oh well. So that's what we're into now. Taking a trip in town, killing half a day, fixing this thing. What can you do? It's just part of machining. So we just got back from Princess Auto, installed this mill motor. Hats off to them. They went good for the motor, and we're back up and running. So we can get back on this axle job and finish it up. Okay, so there's a 10 thou difference here. I'm going to clean this up just for a smooth surface more than anything. It doesn't really need to be done, because once we build it back up to the proper size and it's not oblong, it won't do that anymore. And once I get that done, then we're going to run on to boring this and turning the OD to about 30 thou over, heating it up, sweating it on, getting that on, and then we can bore the OD of that and we'll be good to go. So I'm going to wrap a piece of tape around this so that I don't get too close to it, and we're just going to go around and clean this up with the 1-inch carbide. Alright. It may not be your CNC quality, but still pretty good. Oh, there we go. So now I'll take the tape off. I still have my boring tool set up, so I can skim all this little bit away and still bring us into a decent edge, right? So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so we got this set up now. I'm just going to come down, touch off there, set my 0 on my quill so that I know that that's where I want to end up. And then bring it back in so that I'm zeroed on the readout again. And I should literally just be able to take a small skim there. Beautiful. Have a look at that. Nothing wrong with that. Alright, so now we can build our spacer, our sleeve, and get everything sweated on and bored out again. Honestly, that should do us for a roadie. We can turn the rest down once it's on there. Yep, that's what we wanted. Now we got to get our more critical ID. Hundredth hour to go, so start going. Oh yeah, still doing fine. So you'll see I deburred the inside of that pretty good to get a good radius, just to make sure that we don't interfere down here. So we should be 3 thou under. Oh geez, maybe not. Shit. Well. Oh, it's because it's fucking warm. Alright, I gotta get that off. So just a tiny bit of heat and I was able to pull that back off with a couple of bars, but Jesus. That was almost a dumb mistake. So we're gonna heat this up. Probably throw a bit of Loctite on her. But yeah, that was just hot enough that I couldn't really hold on to it for too much longer. And yeah, now she sweat on her own, so we'll make sure that's going to be a good fit on there. I think it is. I think that once it seats down there, she's going to be on there pretty good. So. All right. Here goes nothing. Put a little pressure there from the head just to keep that down as it cools. Okay, so battery life is dwindling, so I got it set up that it's about to take hopefully just a scratch pass, and we can get a size on it, and then we're just going to bring it down to size. We only have a few thou to go, so yeah, let's see what happens here. So the main line to the house shorted out last night just before I went to take my last cut. We got down power lines. She's might take out my CJ if they don't get here soon. But yeah, this isn't good. We lost power in a bad way. But Nova Scotia came back and hooked us up. Thank fuck. It was a weird day. Everything went wrong. But yeah, we're on to getting this final cut. I got 20 thou left to go, and then she's done. So we'll get on that, and then we'll get this project done and over with. All right, here we go. Okay, we got 20 thou to go. I moved it in 15-ish. We'll take that cut and probably a spring cut and see where we're at. Well, we're about 2.5 thou over, 2 thou over, so we'll do a spring cut. That should be it. We're dead on. Well, that couldn't have worked out any better. That hit dead on size. So now we just got to get it unloaded off the machine and back to the customer. That was a good project. I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, like, subscribe, do all that other stuff down there. And catch you on the next one. See you later, Buzzy.